Alright, it is Tuesday, 9:24 a.m., August the 10th, and this is the watch list. I'm surprised NSAV is having like a 74%. At one point it was 60%, but it is having a gap down, which is very impressive. Who knows, maybe this one will actually go down to zero. They'll get their lawsuits or whatever. Or I don't know. I'm just wondering if these are really people who are, people who had large positions and they're now selling for a tenth of what they bought it for, right? In theory, or if these are like promoters bringing more fear so that when the market opens, people are going to be selling their shares with even more panic. This is actually kind of impressive how this thing just drops. It's almost like, what was it? Was it FERN? No, there was another one. The other one just, yeah, it was KYNC. This one just literally drops to the floor, but it's not as bad as NSAV here that, it gets really close to its lows, but that's impressive. Congrats. I will be watching that for a reversal. I'm really just gonna watch and see what this does. For all I know, this might be just some, fake little gap down, but it's probably a chance that it's actually gonna open a lot lower than where it was yesterday. That's why you cut losses quickly. That's the one thing I did yesterday. That was great. I always cut losses quickly. So again, I'm gonna keep an eye on this on some kind of reversal, but I know I don't have to trade this thing, so I'll just keep it on the watch. BRNE, I would watch it. It would be impressive if this thing continues to spike and maybe like breaks the previous day high. KYNC, again, some kind of reversal if it can put up some effort. RGBP, this one could be a morning panic bounce setup starting today. At any point this thing can make a nice setup. VNTH is just going to be something that I would like to see continue to uptrend and make a third day. NLST could be a morning panic bounce play. I really need to make a discernment, or just in the moment, think, okay, is this going to be just a normal morning panic bounce play like NLST was yesterday morning, this price action right here, or if it's going to be like a tsunami type like NSAV, in which I'm going to try following that 3-ticker rule. We're going for the inverse head and shoulders, which was down here, or you can even say this was a shoulder head and the shoulder here. So I'm going to keep those things in mind. I think that's going to help me be a lot more profitable. It won't help my ego because I won't get the very bottom, but a few times I actually would have gotten the very bottom, but I don't get executed. So what's it matter getting the bottom or not? I'm just trying to be profitable. We'll see if that mindset works. I don't know when we'll have another one of those tsunami type panic stocks, but I look forward to that whenever that happens. Alright, it is 9:37 and there are no morning panic bounce plays, so at least right now, no trades at the moment. NSAV, it's not really the same case here because it kind of had a gap down, but in theory this follows the 3-ticker rule. There's 3 green candles. This was like a consolidation candle. I could have went in at maybe at 26 where it closed, and it's not the same exact science because this isn't really a morning panic bounce play. It just had a gap down, but it's still uptrending. At this point I'd be too late. I would have to wait for this thing to drop a lot more. Maybe a lot of people or promoters got in right here. This thing traded 130 million shares of volume, so now they're just slowly trying to sell into this spike that they're making. I don't know. Well, yeah, this would have followed the 3-ticker thing, although not an exact science here because it was a panic, but not a panic, it was a gap down. But hey, maybe this could work out. In theory it could be in. I'd be up 10% with a larger position size. It just seemed a bit scary at the moment, but and again, it wasn't an exact science. BRNE, I was looking at this, but there's nothing I want to do with it. VNTH, it looked like maybe a potential morning panic bounce setup, but I saw that this thing was barely trading any dollar volume. NLST, I might watch this for a morning panic bounce play. RGBP could be one as well if it were to turn around later today. KXIN was looking impressive. It is at the highs. I might miss this one, but right now it's at its lows. It's not doing as nicely. But I'm gonna keep watching and learning from NSAV. That's where I'm at the moment. Alright, it is 10 a.m. Nice. This thing got as high as 31. Very sketchy price action. Super sketchy price action, but this would have worked out with the 3 green candles, and then we had that candle here that was, I guess, a consolidation candle, but it held. I guess maybe I would risk the close of the 3rd green candle or something like that. I don't think I would have held all the way to 32. That would have been crazy, and I would have went larger, I think, like a $2,000 position. But yeah, if we get another one of these tsunami panic stocks, that'll be nice. I am seeing if this thing could maybe do a dip towards VWAP, which would be at 20, but it might not do it. It might try to round off here, so I might leave it alone. What's the other one? KYNC. This is a nice spike. Maybe if it does like a dip towards VWAP from here, you know, down towards VWAP, that would be a potentially nice setup. RGBP is trying to go red on the day. Maybe this can be a late morning panic bounce play. NLST, I was watching this closely, but it did have this spike here, and even though it's a big volume candle now, at the moment it was spiking like all the way up to here, right, with like barely any volume. So I didn't get in for that reason. I didn't put any money in it. I didn't sell anything. Nothing happened because of that price action. So that's where I'm at. Nothing else to really say. I'm happy to see KYNC actually trying to spike. That's all I got for right now. Okay, it is 10:15. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but I tried with that 3-minute candle rule, the green candle rule, with all these type of sketchy stocks. So, and you know, in theory, this was it. 1, 2, 3 green candles, but then we had like 2 red candles, so it wasn't looking that nice. And then we had it again, 1, 2, 3 green candles. The next candles were looking a little better. I took a buy at 10:09, which was this red candle after the 3 green candles, and that was at 279. So right about here, 279, the red candle right after these 3 green candles. It was extremely nerve-wracking. It's still uptrending. It's at 298. And I sold at 287, which was just 2 minutes later. I could have done better holding this, but this is a somewhat new strategy. Pretty nerve-wracking price action, but I did sell there at 287, and it was a tiny gain, tiny percent gain, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm gonna keep trying setups like that. You know, I didn't have to sell this thing. It's still going. It's still looking green, and maybe what I could do, I don't know, maybe if it has like 2 doji looking candles, or if it has 2 red candles in a row, then I could consider selling. But of course, you know, those 2 red candles in a row might be huge, so I'm gonna keep really analyzing this, but it's getting very thin. Excuse me. And this is usually kind of like really sketchy price action. Usually means that somebody's selling with a lot of size. It's trying to do a breakout. Maybe it can do it, maybe not, but in theory it should, because it's down so much. I don't think it wants to get investigated by the SEC. So that's what I'm thinking about. You know, I could still be in this thing profitably at 298, although it is looking a bit sketchy here. It could totally break out though. That's where I'm at. KYNC did a nice breakout over this high. Oh damn, I missed this. This could have been a dip towards VWAP setup, because you know it spikes from 15, 17, 4, and then it drops here at VWAP. I missed it. Unless it drops back down, I might be interested in it, but I probably missed it. Alright, NSAV got as high as what is this? This like 342, 341. I guess 339 says right here. So anyway, this thing is downtrending. What I see is a potential head and shoulder, head, and if it drops, excuse me, I want to see where the bottom is. Maybe I'll wait for 3 green tickers again, and then I might consider it for a shoulder. Maybe it wants to hold this level here. If we get 3 green candles, I'll consider it for like a head and shoulders buy, and then ideally a sell into the shoulder. It doesn't have to do it, but that's what I have in mind right now. Okay, it is 10:42. I was looking at this maybe for like the 3rd green candle. We didn't get that. We got this little doji looking thing, and then we have a red candle. So no setups right now. I will be looking to see if it, maybe how in this case it wasn't 3 green candles, so maybe sometimes it has 2 green candles, a doji, and then a green candle, and then that could count too. I'm not sure. That's going to be something I'll be looking at. RGBP, I'm interested in this for like a later morning panic bounce play, maybe a lower low setup. I guess a lower low setup, not an initial panic like this, but that is a fear that maybe I think, oh, it's the lower low and it has like a big V type panic, which is possible. VNTH, yeah, I'll remove it. This thing just doesn't look nice. NLST, it did do a higher low. I haven't seen a higher low work in a very long time. Buying at 558s, and now it's at, although this would have been kind of hard, 590. Yeah. KXIN, nothing. KYNC, this was a head and shoulder head. I didn't think of, yeah, excuse me. I did think about buying this, and now in theory this could have been like a head and shoulders buy. So shoulder, head, and then you buy, and then you sell into the shoulder. That could have been a setup. So that's what I got right now. I'll be looking at NSAV. It could obviously turn around and I do 3 green tickers in a row. That's fine too, but I just want to play it safe. I don't want to play like, oh, I got the bottom. No, I want to be profitable. So that's what I have in mind, and this thing really worked out nicely after those 3 green candles. My entry at 279, I mean, it went to 34, I guess was the high. No, I guess it was 339, but I think that was give or take a 20% move. So I want to be more prepared next time with something like that. Alright, it is 10:58. I'm not sure when the last recording was made, but this thing was very similar to, I forgot what the other stock was, something that I wanted to do for a buy for a head and shoulders, and then it turned out it just bounced so little, and that turned out to be the shoulder. That's the case here, where in theory I would have been in if I'm trying to get call the bottom, which I'm not anymore, but a buy here, and then that's all I got to, and then it downtrends, right? So no buy here, no setups unless this thing does something amazing later in the day. I'll be interested in it, but right now I don't see anything that I want to do with it. RGBP did do a lower low, but it's a bit sketchy. It's nice to see it work, but if this does an inverse head and shoulder, head, shoulder, I might try a larger size with something like this, but I would like to see, this thing top maybe at VWAP or a little higher. I might consider that. That actually might not be a bad setup. NLST is nothing I want to do. This one was one of the few higher lows after the morning panic bounce way that worked, and this wasn't really a perfect morning panic bounce play either. KYNC, it's just downtrending. This could be NSAV if it doesn't get itself together. So that's what I'm interested in. Maybe inverse head and shoulders with RGVP. I could try a larger size there. That's where I'm at the moment. Okay, it is 11:36 a.m. I was watching this for the inverse head and shoulders, and it did kind of base around the same level as it was over here at 25. The problem is that the volume is not very nice. The price action is sketchy. You see this, it uptrends with 3 red candles. Like, it's just disgusting. So I never traded it, I never bought, I never sold it, I just left it alone. And I mean, I guess a lot of people aren't really trading it at this point because the volume is not anywhere like what it was before. It is uptrending, I guess in theory 25 to 257, and it could make a run towards VWAP with very low volume and price action. That can totally happen, but I don't mind missing it for that reason. NSAV is not doing anything. NLST is trying to rebound. KYNC unfortunately kind of turned around. KXIN did do an inverse head and shoulders. I didn't see this. In theory, I would have maybe considered it. Shoulder, head, shoulder. 301, 312. Not much range. It is a listed stock. And in theory, it could have done a nice breakout over the highs here. Kind of like BTBT. So that's where I'm at. I probably won't make an update till later in the day unless something just really nice shows up, but I don't think that's gonna be the case. Alright, it is 4:42 and I'm here to call it off. The markets have closed and I made a whopping $7.50 on one trade with NSAV. The percent gain was alright. The setup really worked. I was just not able to really get much of the profits because it was a newer setup. You know, trying the 3 green candle idea, which was back in 10:09. It looks very different now with the charts the way they are right here. This was it, 10:09. Here was the first, first, second, third green candle. My entry was this red candle, and I sold at 10:11. I barely gave myself much of a chance to make a profit. It got to 34. That was a 20% move from my entry. I could have been really profitable. And we also had the 3 green candles here. That stutter candle I was talking about. It looks much more realistic like this. Maybe the way I had it, showing extended hours. Yeah, it just made it look kind of weird and sketchy. Maybe I should have had that off, but that was a setup there. This could have been a 20% move. I would have made a lot of money actually, even with the small size that I took. I'm going to consider that the 3 green candles on stocks like this that are kind of iffy, kind of sketchy, or these big tsunami panic stocks, I will be considering this. It looks like it did downtrend towards the end of the day. I have a lot of room for improvement. That can help me be really profitable. RGBP, the only thing I was interested in for real was this inverse head and shoulders, and this one traded all sketchy. I mean, I got to what, 262? A perfect entry. 251. There just wasn't much range. It did do a panic here that did work. I don't regret missing this one because it was later in the day, kind of weird. KYNC is doing an amazing job bouncing back. KXIN, it failed to do this breakout here. It did do an inverse head and shoulders, but that was about it. That's all I would have been interested in. And NLST, I was watching for this, but this was like a bit too weird. The price action was all messed up, but I'm glad to see this thing come back. Hopefully RGBP can make a proper morning panic bounce play this week. I have a lot of room for improvement. Even if it was a small gain with KYNC, it was also not KYNC, NSAV. It was a small size, and I didn't hold it long enough for it to be really profitable. I could get better with a lot of things. I see a lot of things I can get better at, which is great, and I'll keep working towards that.